They say Napoleon conquered Europe with cannons and courage, but what if I told you he was defeated not by armies, but by bankers? While Napoleon was marching across continents, another war was unfolding, one fought in silence, through gold, debt, and information. And when the smoke cleared, one family, the Rothschilds, had done something no general ever could. They had quietly taken control of Europe's money. This is the untold story of how a family of bankers from a Frankfurt ghetto outsmarted the greatest military strategist in history and changed the balance of power forever. Before we dive in, if you love uncovering the hidden side of history, the kind that never makes it into your school textbooks, make sure you like this video. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the deeper we go into stories like this, the more you'll start to see how power really works. The story doesn't start in royal halls or marble palaces. It begins in the Judengasse, the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt, a narrow, cramped alleyway lined with crooked wooden houses and flickering lamps. In this alley, over 3,000 Jews lived under restrictions so harsh, even traveling at night required permission. Among them was a young man named Mayer Amschel Rothschild, born in 1744, a boy who once dreamed of becoming a rabbi, but fate had other plans. After his parents' death, Mayer left behind religious studies and took a job at a local banking house. There, surrounded by rare coins and royal ledgers, he discovered something extraordinary: the power behind money. He realized wealth wasn't just gold or silver. It was information, trust and timing, and those who understood that could shape nations. By his 20s, Mayer had opened his own coin trading business. His reputation for honesty and skill soon caught the attention of Crown Prince Wilhelm of Hesse, one of Europe's richest nobles. The prince hired him as a court factor, a Jewish financier who managed royal wealth. And just like that, Mayer Rothschild took his first step out of the ghetto and into the corridors of power. Mayer was brilliant, but even he knew that one man's success meant nothing in an unstable Europe. So he built something smarter: a family network. He trained his 5 sons, Amschel, Salomon, Nathan, Carl, and James, and gave them 2 simple but powerful rules: do business with ruling houses, and have many sons. Then he sent each son to a different European capital: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt, forming the first true international banking network in history. In an age before telegraphs or telephones, this was revolutionary. While kings relied on slow couriers, the Rothschilds built their own system: a network of trusted messengers, coded letters, and information channels that could carry financial news faster than any government. This gave them something priceless: time advantage. They knew about market crashes, currency shifts, and military outcomes before anyone else did. It was this information power that would soon help them outsmart the most feared man in Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte. From 1792 to 1815, Europe was burning. The French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars had plunged the continent into chaos. Empires rose and fell, borders were redrawn, but amid this destruction, the Rothschilds saw opportunity. In Paris, Jacob Rothschild, later known as James, quietly financed parts of Napoleon's operations. Meanwhile, in London, his brother Nathan Rothschild supported Britain's war against France. They were funding both sides, a dangerous but genius strategy, because no matter who won, the Rothschilds always got paid. But Nathan wasn't just playing both sides, he was thinking ahead. As Napoleon's victories spread fear in London's markets, government bonds, the backbone of British finance, began to crash. While everyone panicked and sold, Nathan did the opposite. He bought. Why? Because he knew something no one else did. Through his lightning-fast courier network, he learned that Napoleon had been defeated at Waterloo a full day before. The British government knew. Nathan went to the London Stock Exchange and began selling small amounts of bonds, tricking others into believing Britain had lost. The market collapsed in panic. Then, when prices hit rock bottom, he bought them all back. When the truth broke that Napoleon was defeated, bond prices soared. Nathan Rothschild made a fortune so vast that day, it became legend. He didn't just outsmart Napoleon, He outsmarted the entire British financial system. Soon after, Nathan reportedly said the line that would echo for centuries: "I care not what puppet sits upon the throne of England. The man who controls the money supply controls the empire, and I control the money supply." After Napoleon's fall, Europe entered a new era, and the Rothschilds became its silent architects. They financed post-war recoveries, helped rebuild nations, and, in return, gained influence in nearly every royal treasury. They funded the construction of railways, mines, canals, and banks across Europe. They held stakes in industries that powered the Industrial Revolution. And when Britain wanted to buy shares in the Suez Canal, securing its route to India, guess who arranged the deal? The Rothschilds. Their reach was astonishing. In Spain, they held the monopoly on mercury, essential for refining gold and silver. In France, they funded national reconstruction after defeat. In Austria and Italy, they financed governments and aristocrats alike. They didn't rule empires, but empires needed their money to rule. But power never comes without enemies. As the Rothschilds' wealth grew, so did the myths surrounding them. They were accused of controlling wars, manipulating markets, and even owning governments. And as anti-Semitic sentiments spread across Europe, their name became a lightning rod for conspiracy and hatred. Some of those stories were pure fantasy. Others were simply jealousy turned into propaganda. The truth was more subtle. The Rothschilds weren't magicians. They were just smarter, faster, and more connected than anyone else. But history has a way of turning brilliance into suspicion. Over the next century, the Rothschild network began to fracture. The Naples branch closed in 1863, the Frankfurt branch ended in 1901, and the Vienna branch was destroyed by the Nazis during World War II. In 1982, France even nationalized their Paris bank, effectively ending the original 5-branch system Mayer had built. Only London survived, adapting quietly to modern finance, shifting from royal loans to global investments and private banking. But even in their decline, the Rothschilds' methods became the blueprint for the world's financial system. Private banking, diversified holdings, information-driven, strategy. Every major banking dynasty, that came after, from the Morgans to the Rockefellers, learned from their model. Fast forward to today. The Rothschild name doesn't appear in headlines as it once did, but their legacy still shapes how money and power interact. Their London group, Rothschild & Co., manages over $100 billion in assets, with annual profits exceeding $600 million. Their family funds extend into energy, real estate, mining, and philanthropy, quietly influencing sectors that governments depend on. But beyond numbers, their biggest contribution is a blueprint: the idea that whoever controls the flow of money controls the flow of power. And that pattern, born in the age of Napoleon, still repeats today. Just look at how global markets react to interest rate decisions, or how a handful of financial institutions can move trillions overnight. Power no longer wears crowns. It wears suits. So what can we learn from the Rothschilds' rise and Napoleon's fall? First, information is the real weapon. Nathan Rothschild's victory at Waterloo wasn't luck. It was data. He knew before others did, and that changed everything. Second, networks outlast empires. While Napoleon's empire fell in a decade, the Rothschild network lasted centuries because it wasn't built on land or soldiers, but trust and communication. And third, power hides behind simplicity. A single sentence: control the money, control the empire, still defines the modern world more than any political slogan ever could. In the end, Napoleon ruled Europe with fear. The Rothschilds ruled it with finance. He lost his empire on a battlefield. They built theirs through letters, ledgers and loans, and centuries later, their influence still echoes through every interest rate, every stock exchange, every nation's debt, because history isn't always shaped by the men who fight wars. Sometimes it's shaped by the men who fund them. If you've made it this far, you're part of the small group that truly understands how history and money intertwine. Drop an emoji in the comments so I know you stayed till the end. And if you haven't already, share it with someone who loves hidden history. And subscribe for more stories that reveal who really holds power in our world. Because this story isn't just about the past, It's a reminder of the system we're all still living in.